Hi, I'm John and welcome back to my Lair of Action Figures. Today is going to be a review of the Terminator 2 DX 010, and the reason I'm doing that is due to the fact that Hot Toys has just released, and we have some blogger pictures and some other people in Asia that are showing us the Terminator 2.0. Now, of course, you're going to say, well, John, this is not the DX, this is the Terminator that came out in 2010. And I would say, yes, it is correct, because technically this 2.0 is a mix between this one and the DX. So 10. So if you look at this figure over here, there's some parts that are not available with the DX, with the arm over here and the flower box over here. So these are two items who are put with the 2.0, and afterwards the rest of the gear that comes with the Terminator 2.0 are the ones that come with the DX. So I have a guy that I was chatting with on Facebook on a group called Carl Wu, who posted some pictures. So here are his pictures of the new Terminator. Now, of course, somebody did put a comment on one of the videos that I made a few months ago regarding that, to say, well, the DX or the Terminator ones, the one that they were dead in 2010, and of course the DX one 2012, was maybe not so outdated than that, and he disagrees, and I have no problem about it. I guess opinions can vary, and of course, if we are talking about a figure who comes out 13 years later, well, I hope it is better, but let's point out certain things that you need to know about the figure that is the Terminator 2.0. So, of course, as you can see, there's a seamless silicone body. Of course, there's a big discrepancy between the paint on the hands and the boil joint over here compared to the rest of the body, but afterwards, maybe you're not going to be posing it like this. Afterwards, there's a big issue who comes onto, well, over here you do not have it because you have to interchange the arm, so this part of the arm is not silicone. It's only the top part who is silicone. Now, the thing is, if anybody who is buying Hot Toy figures will know that the neck or the different parts of the arms are always protected by some plastic that you have to remove because of the possibility that you may have, and I do have some figures who have this, getting some markage on their skin or on their forearms with black residue. So yeah, this is something that is a big issue. Now the question is, how is this silicone going to live up onto the figure if you're going to pose it with the vest? Will it have any deterioration? Is there going to be any color loss? So yeah, that's something who is very interesting. And the point that I lifted up with Carl Wu, who's the one who did the pictures, so is the tightness of the pants and the jacket does feel a lot tighter on the figure than the one that they did for the DX. So now coming over here, the biggest issue that a lot of people had when this one was announced was there's a huge wrinkle over here. As you can see, this wrinkle seems to have been downplayed a bit and maybe not as much as on the prototype. It is still there. It's also on the original one. You're going to be able to see it when I'm going to be looking at the figure itself. But as you can see, the wrinkle is there. Now you can see that the jacket is a pretty tight fit. And he says it does fit tight and you have to watch out with the shoulders. Now, the good part about it, from what I was reading, this is not any more pleather. This is real leather. So that's a kind of an improvement. But when I'm looking at all these wrinkles over here, I'm not really convinced that this is good for leather either, because you know that leather can crease, and then you will have to keep it, put some cream on, rub it in, and all of this, and I don't know how that will work for the 1/6 scale. So let's continue. So over here we have some more pictures. As you can see, there's already a lot of creasing in this, and this figure is brand new. So again, how is this going to hold up in the age? How is it going to work? And yeah, this is all questions that I believe are really genuine questions that will be answered over time. But as you can see, There's a lot of creasing going around. I can understand having leather to put to 1/6 scale instead of 1/1 scale can be complicated. So yeah, this is something that you have to keep in mind. Over here you do have it. I guess he must have had a lot of light and maybe the flash on for having all this shininess. But as you can see, this line here is still there and kind of gives him this upper part of the head, seems to be less pronounced on the DX or on the Terminator figure. So now that we have talked about the 2.0, let me go into reviewing the DX10. So after the comparison of those DX figures and the previous one plus the 2.0, let's go into the box of the DX10. So of course, while it's given a spin so you can have a close look at it, of course, DX was normally the best of the line. Now Hot Toys has a new DX who is called the artisan version, but DX back in the day meant that you were really getting the high-end collectible item. But as you can see, with the 2.0, well, this puts these DX in a kind of a delicate position, if we can call it like this, because if you're trying to tell me this is the top of the line and a few years later decide to change it and make it a bit different, does disturb me, because this is taking your clients for food. But afterwards, this is my opinion. You may agree or disagree. Let me know in the comment section. As you can see, I'm going to give this box a little spin so you can have a look at it. Afterwards, there was a big problem with the boxes on the side over here. They used to tear. A lot of people who got these shipped out to them, who didn't have extra packaging, always had a problem, and the box used to tear. So yeah, that was one of the big problems of the DX. But again, DX boxes were something of a unique experience. If you would purchase one, you do have the magnets over here, as you can see, that will open the box. I'm going to open it a little bit, just let it hold it like this, and then you can see the box over here. So of course you would have a little mousse over here with protection, with some little features like this where you can open it. So yeah, it was an interesting idea that they had behind it. So now that we have looked at the box itself and this end of the spin around of this, let's have a look at what we get in the box itself. So we're going to have a closer dive in. Let's dive into what we have in the box. So this is going to be a new shoot because I had to redo the video, so I'm not going to be unboxing the box like I have already unboxed it. So we're going to go through all the different items that we get in the box, and of course we're going to start by our friend Arnold Schwarzenegger. So as you can see over here, we do have a pretty decent head sculpt for when it came out. You have to remember this figure came out in 2012. This is 13 years compared to the Terminator 2.0. And like I said, I will talk about it more at the end when I'm going to do the comparison. I'm going to give this figure a little spin so you can have a closer look at it. So, of course, you might be saying, but John, why are you touching it with your hands and you're not wearing your white gloves? Because the fact of Hot Toys using fake leather. And the question and the answer to that one would be, it is because this is real leather. So in 2012, when Hot Toys made this figure, they went with real leather. So this does kind of put into question how comes Hot Toys didn't continue with real leather with other characters and continued with the fake leather, the splatter. And this is something that is a bit scummy of the part of Hot Toys. If you know that there's some deterioration with the material, why not use real leather the same way that they did with the Darth Vader that Hot Toys did, the first one? You could have used real leather. I think that's really not cool on your behalf of not doing it. So as you can see, there's a lot of details going around on the vest. As you can see, there's some nails over here. I mean, the figure itself, it really looks nice. And of course, like I took it out of the box, you do still have a bit of a scent of the leather. As you can see, the pants don't have a too fit tight. So, of course, if you stretch it, they start to have a bit of a tighter position around it, but I think this one has also, you have this issue also with the 2.0. When I was talking with the person that I shared the pictures, they'd say that it does have a bit of a tighter fit, but you can still move it around and give some good perspective on the figures. As you can see, the figure itself is pretty decent and does come with some cool articulation. So of course, we're going to be talking about the head. And as you can see, the head sculpt is still pretty decent. The 2.0 is a bit bigger, and the forehead towards the hair is also a bit larger. It does feel a bit weird, but it is kind of accurate to the Arnold Schwarzenegger's look in this movie, depending, of course, on the way the picture is taken from the movie scene. So yeah, it does have it. So the head will be a bit bigger. That means the body and the rest of the figure is going to be bulkier also. Now, as you can see, for a figure that came out in 2012, what they did is pretty cool. So we're going to remove this part over here. It's something that was only available on the DX figures, and this is this system that they have to move the eyes inside. Now, it's a bit stiff, so let's see. Oh yeah, as you can see, he does move, and that's another little part that I'm going to be showing, and have the other video. That one stays still was pretty good, so I'm going to be talking about this. Is the little part over here where you should have to put the chipset in here. This is in the movie, as you can see, you can fit it in, but it does have a tendency of falling out, but this time it didn't. So yeah, so as you can see, this is the figure. Now, going into the equipment, of course, we're going to start by the base. So I've already put on the hook. As you can see, this is a standard base that you would get with all the Hot Toys. Now, of course, over here you have a light-on system. So you have 3 small batteries who were in there. So sadly, one of the batteries leaked. I did do a test, and they do work. So this is why I think Hot Toys should have thought about the people, and it's not like it's new that people were keeping them mint in box. And Hot Toys should have put these 3 little batteries over here. So one of these leaked, so I'm going to go and trash these next time. So if you want to know the batteries you're going to need for replacement, these are the ones that I used, and this is the ones that you're going to need. You can put a pause on the video if you want to. So of course, when you're going to be unboxing, they're going to tell you that you need to technically start by this over here. It is the user guide. So of course, a standard user guide with how you can make the eyes move, how does this work, of course, how the different hair pieces, how you put the chips over there. So of course you can see, contrary to what I'm going to be saying, I was trying to put the chipset in there, but as you can see, it does not work. Tells you how you can move the body, what you can do, what you shouldn't do with it. Of course, how you can move the arms up, down, left, the bicep movement, how that you remove the head on it, as you can see, and how that you're going to be gearing up your figure with the different the ammo bag, if we can call it like that, with the Gatling gun ammo plus the Gatling gun, the M79 grenade launcher, the ammunition, the 40mm frag grenades over here. Then you have the connection for our gun. Over here you have the little light on, so this turns on. I'll remove the batteries. So I think there's one of the videos where it turns on, so it should, this part has a little light illumination in blue. So of course we have again the same explanation, but this time in Chinese, I believe. Could be mistaken, but this is what you get. So now that we are all familiar with the manual, let's have a look at what we get in the box. So we're going to be starting by the big guns, because this is something that is going to be interesting. So we have the Gatling gun. So this is not the first time Hot Toys is doing the Gatling gun. This came out with Resident Evil. As you can see, there's not much weathering, but the only weathering we have is more around here. There's nothing around on the gun over here. It does not turn, so I'm not going to take the risk. There's some detailing over here. You do have the little pegs over here. This is to clip the ammo in over there, so you can't be see, you have the ammo, then you should clips it in over here. and then it should, fits in, easy peasy, like that. And as you can see, that's what goes into the bag. As you can see, it's pretty basic. So you have your grip here and you hold it over here, and that's how it's done. So the ammo belt, while I have it on, as you can see, it's pretty basic. It's plastic, very supple, so can be easily bent. So yeah, not too bad. Then we're going to go on to his next firepower, and this is going to be the M79 grenade launcher. So this is nothing new. This is something that Hot Toys did have before with the military line. So I guess this is exactly the same. I haven't any military line figures I have over here. So of course you can pop it open over here. So you can put the 40mm grenade in here, and you can close it as simple as this. So of course, when I took it out of the box, this was extremely stiff. Of course, you can bring up the sight for you to be able to throw, to aim. And of course, you have a strap over here. So pretty basic, but I mean, the weapon itself is pretty basic. Then we're going to go on to his famous Winchester rifle. So of course, you have the movement. So over here you can see there's a little bullet in there. So yeah, it's a pretty decent weapon. It already came out with the MMS 117, so this is nothing new. Then afterwards we're going to finish by the smaller one, who's the pistol. So you can move this. This was also stuck, and I guess you could move this, but I don't want to try because it's been sitting in the box and maybe the paint got dried up a bit, so we'll not try it. But over here you have, of course, the clip that should fit in perfectly over here. Now, continuing with the ammo, here is the ammo belt over here for the 40mm grenade. So of course, every grenade over here is made out of plastic. So this is the one that you would strap around him. This is what he has when he's firing at the police car. So this is this famous scene when that's Cyberdean. So this over here, it's pretty basic. Now I do have a funny little story, or could call it an anecdote, concerning these frag grenades. I ordered some stuff from Hong Kong for my G.I. Joe or my modern military, and they were in metal. And the way the person declared it, who shipped it out of Hong Kong, put it as ammunition. So I got a letter from the Swiss Post Office asking me to provide my feedback and also my license for importing ammunition. So as you can see, I saw that, I started laughing because yes, it is ammunition, but it's 1/6 scale. So I gave the quick call to the post office and explained it. We had a good laugh, and the packet was sent to me. I mean, they could have talked about it. It was in an envelope. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back to the review of this figure over here. So we have the little backpack that has side pack. Of course, these zippers do open. Over here you do have it, and of course, like always, you have this mousse over here. So you can pull this over here, and that's where you're going to be fitting the ammo of the Gatling gun. So yeah, as you can see, every pouch has some Velcro on it. So if you want to put, so it can be always interesting if you have some more packaging material, or you don't care about your DX box who has plenty of mousse, you can maybe add some stuff in it so that the pouches feel a bit more, let's say, filled up, and maybe put some weight onto it, due to the fact that this is super light. When I'm going to be taking showing you the figure, going to see that the bag doesn't really hold like if it's heavy with material in it. It's kind of floating up in the air. So yeah, that's something that you may want to do if you want to pose it. Should put something heavier in here, some nails or some if you have some leftover metal parts, should put it in here to give it this kind of more solid approach to it and give it this more heaviness so it doesn't move around. So now that we have had a look at this, let's have a look at its different hands. So of course we do have the extra pegs, who are a nice little add-on. We only have two, of course, hands who are here. These are the hands that you can use for holding the Gatling gun. It also does hold the pistol, and over here this one is really done to be able to have this kind of, give you the impression that you're getting this kind of grip on here, and this is the same thing over here. You'll be using this one. Let's put this over here, as you can see, and this is the one, of course, trigger discipline for the Terminator, because he's not using fire wind, so he's not going to have it. But this is exactly how it would go. So we do have the same pair of hands, but this time with gloves. So gloves are pretty well detailed, so I don't know if you can see, but you can really see that they really went into the detail with the little holes, call it ventilation maybe, but you can really see that Hot Toys did a really neat job of doing this highly detailed look on the gloves. So yeah, this is something that I must say Hot Toys really did a great job on this figure. Like I said, a 13 years old figure, you will not expect that at all. So yeah, here is the fist ones if you need it, and that's going to be the end, of course, of the hands. Of course, you have the relaxed hands who are on the figure with the gloves. Then we have his shades over here. So there's a, you can see maybe, yeah, depending how the light turns, but you can see there's a slight transparency, so you can see through them. So yeah, nice little piece of accessory. And now we're going to go on to the very small stuff that we get, and this is what we have in this box. Of course, this is where the shades go, but as you can see over here, we do have the different parts, and I will be doing after this, you have a short video of me using these parts over here, but I'm going to show them again because as you can see, they are extremely small. So contrary to what I'm saying, this little part over here, who's the chip, does not fit in it, and you cannot clip it in. I've tried and it doesn't work, and as you can see in the manual, it doesn't work either. Over here we have the little skin that is peeled off, you will see also. Then we have the cover, and then we have what comes over the chip over here. And of course we have the ply to remove it, and surprisingly it's all made out of metal, this one here. So pretty nice job on these. So that gives a bit the turn of what you get in the box. Again, maybe some people will say that it's a bit light maybe for a DX figure, but yeah, it is pretty decent. And of course, I strongly suggest if you have it and you're not using those parts, remember, use this as a storage, not to lose anything. So now let's have a closer look at his head and how everything works on to putting these little parts into it. Now, as promised, I said I was going to have a closer look at the head over here, and this does normally pop out. Oops. Yes, it does. So as you can see, we're going to be putting the head over here. We're going to see if we can really get a good glimpse inside. Even if I put, let's try to bring some extra light onto it. Yeah, as you can see, it's pretty well detailed. So I'm going to be putting in the little extra accessories over here to give the looks of it. Oh, so the chipset didn't come out. So you need to press a little bit to get the chip out. So of course, this is really little. So that's the chipset. Then we have the bolt who comes over it, holds it in place. Now, when I'm looking at it, I don't think you would be able to put the chipset and this back in over here, but you will be able to dump this one in like this, and afterwards you're going to come with the cover over it, so you can't put the chip. I do have big fingers. I'm not sure that I will be able. Maybe I'm going to need this tool to play surgeon with this guy over here, so let's try to clip it in. Oh, nice. It's made out of metal. So Hot Toys really went the extra mile to do something pretty interesting over here. Let's see if we can do what Sarah Connor did, and let's see if we can clip it in. Yeah, I'm a bit clumsy, and I think, yeah, it's a nice feature. I'm sure that I can clip it in, but it's pretty small, so I'm not going to try it. But let's see if we can put this back in. Here, of course, like I said, there's nothing over here that permits you to do it in this way of having everything put inside. So Going to put this in over here, then we come up with the cover on top, as you can see, and then we do have the little skin part over here that you're going to be putting over here. So we're going to clip it in, and here it is. Let's put some more light onto here, because I mean, Hot Toys really did a pretty good job of it over here. So you have the full pattern of putting it in. Also, the good part about it, if this does fit in over it, yeah, you see, it fits perfectly, so you don't lose those parts, because these little parts like the chip or this or the other part to go into it will make it pretty hard to not lose them. So yeah, as you can see, it does look and does feel pretty neat, and it was a little nice add-on that they didn't do with the other figure. Here you can see with the shades, does look kind of interesting, but when you're putting the shades on, you do have this kind of effect that you have with the 2.0, but I have the impression, tell me if I'm wrong, or if you want to put some pictures comparing, most of the pictures, like you can see in the video, this looks really disproportionate. It looks like the head would be coming up to here. So yeah, not a big fan of this, and I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to keep all of that for my final thoughts. So, as you can see, I quickly built him up and put him into his famous pose. I even added his shades on that I didn't put during the review, but again, you can see the shades fit pretty well, and you do have a bit this height over here, and it's not much pronounced. Now, I'm going to be starting by, of course, is this a collectible item, yes or no? And the answer is kind of no. The problem is, Hot Toys doing 2.0s, you know, if you read my comments or you read anything else or watch my videos, you know that I am not a fan of these 2.0s or whatever they call them. Now, the problem is your figure is worth something as long as they haven't come out with a newer model. So, of course, the moment a 2.0 comes out, this kind of brings down the prices. Now, the only good part about having a 2.0, let's say 13 years ago you were not a fan of Hot Toys, or you didn't know about Hot Toys and you should begin, yeah, it is kind of cool. Now, for me, this DX has one huge problem, and this is where I have a huge issue with, of course, Hot Toys regarding the fact of the collectible value. You're giving us a DX. DX was like the artisan version. It would be like anybody who's buying any artisan version in maybe 5-6 years, Hot Toys comes out with the artisan deluxe version. I mean, that's a big FU to every collector who put for $500. I'm not even talking about people who may have put $1,000 into those artisan versions, but this shows you that Hot Toys needs to really think it over. DX was supposed to be the best stuff out there, was to be the best version that you will ever get. Well, until they decided to go full Hasbro and should do like Marvel Legends, T-800 or other stuff, and should remake figures. So that's the reason why, for me, Hot Toys has lost all its value as a collectible item, because you're going to get a 2.0 or a relaunch or whatever down the lane. So yes, sadly, Hot Toys doesn't have any more value. So now that we've pushed that away, what is my final thoughts about this figure? How does it look compared to the pictures I've seen, due to the fact that the figure has just been released in Asia, hasn't come to Sideshow yet, so it's still in pre-order at their place, or maybe sold out now that some people have started seeing the pictures of it. So is this DX10 a better figure? What is better? What is less good on the figure? And let's start out straight away by also putting a little bit of a disclaimer that I've already talked about. You have to remember this figure came as a upgrade and a little bit of extra to compensate the missing parts that was on MMS 117. So if you really think about it, you would have to compare the MMS 117, sorry, with the 2.0, because that's the one it's based on. But again, the accessories that are given with the 2.0 are exactly the one of the DX. So technically, Hot Toys, instead of doing two figures like they did back in 2010 and 2012, they give us 2 figures. Over here, Hot Toys decided, well, we're going to take those 2 figures and put them as one. So yeah, that's going to mean this DX is going to be taking a lot of flack for it. Now, let's talk about the figure itself. I still think this figure looks amazing. Let me know in the comment section if you agree, disagree, why. And also, do you think it still holds up? I mean, I think they did a pretty good job. They nailed it the same way that they nailed Captain Jack Sparrow. Of course, we're not talking about the first version, but all the other versions they did afterwards, the DX also, really did a fantastic job on it. So yeah, I do think that most of the gear, most of the equipment, I am nearly sure that it's 100% the same. So you can't really say that there's going to be a major upgrade. Of course, the outfit is, both of them are made out of leather. So yeah, that's something that you have to take into consideration. And that's why I would say the 2.0 wins on also that part, because you're going to get a new outfit and maybe better techniques, because in 13 years they might have developed some better things than this one. So yeah, this is one of the big issues. Now, afterwards, regarding the body itself, now this is where, for me, I have the huge problem with the new body. Now, they want to go with the silicone bodies and all of that. For now, we don't know how are they going to hold. Is it going to age well? Is it not going to age well? Is it going to be a pleather problem with it? Are there going to be some tainting issues due to the fact that if you leave the leather on, you could have some parts fading and going onto the body itself? So how does that work? How is this silicone or whatever material they're using for these bodies is going to hold up? How is it going to crease? Is it going to crack? So yeah, for me, going with this plastic body, you know, they've been making hundreds or thousands of these bodies. They hold the distance. These figures don't have the problems that some of the Hot Toys had with too tight joints, with the screws who were tightened up too much in the legs and this kind of stuff. So, I mean, it came out of the box. There's nothing, no issue. So on this part, I would give the win to the DX10. So yeah, I know it's not going to be much, but again, this figure is pretty decent. Like I said, for me personally, I'm not going to resell this figure. I have no intention of selling my MMS 117 either. I have these 2 figures. I'm perfectly happy with it. So that's why I'm not going to be picking up the DX, the 2.0. So now, if you're interested, I do have some DX10s left in the warehouse when I had the shop. I don't know, there might have been some stuff who was hiding in one of the boxes, and I found them a little while ago. So if you do have the MMS 117 and you don't have the DX and you want to add it to your collection, you can contact me if you want to have it. Otherwise, it's going to be, maybe I have to agree that it's going to be a bit cheaper due to the fact that it did do a lot of traveling. Now, maybe it might be cheaper, my DX10, than the ones that you have, because I'm in Europe. So, of course, I have the shipping to bring back, and that's going to make it maybe a bit more advantage for me of having some better prices on the DX10. But again, if you're able to get the 2.0, I would strongly suggest that you go for the 2.0 instead of going for this one. So, yeah, I would have to say that the winner is the 2.0. So, yeah, that's kind of logic. Does it pain me? As you can see, yeah, it does pain me, because I think that Hot Toys really take their clients for fools by making figures that they're saying is the ultimate collectible item, and at the end of the day, they should give you some kind of stuff that they're going to upgrade down the line, and I don't think it's really worth it. But again, this has nothing to do with the DX10, nor does it have with the 2.0. The way that they do business is something that I really do not like. So that's going to be it for the review of the DX10. If you like this kind of video, please subscribe to the channel, share, comment in the section. Really do share the video with other collectors, so that does help out a lot the channel. Of course, the subscription do help out a lot, but yeah, if you can do that, that would be really nice. Also, I would like to start a conversation. What do you think about the DX10? What do you think of the 2.0? Do you have one of those 2 figures? Did you have any issues? Do you have the MMS 117 that I will be doing also a review of, because I still have one mint in box from my private collection and the one out of the box, so I will be reviewing that one also. Tell me if you had any issues with the fake leather with the 2010, so the MMS 117 is fake leather. So tell me if you had any issues, if you found a way to solve that problem, how does it hold up? So yeah, let's have this conversation and use this comment section, and let's keep it friendly and no insulting. That's something that I highly appreciate, and we don't need to do that. So until then, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!